Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Ray Hayes, who will be fighting on FAC for the featherweight title July 27th. Hello, Ray. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Ray, you will be fighting for I think that quite important title in very, very like big regional promotion. So, if you can tell me how your camp is going right now.
The camp's going great right now. We've just been tuning up the wrestling, keeping the pace heavy, making it a grapple heavy pace. He's a really good grappler. Came out of good wrestling background. He's in a big grappling camp. I mean, the Kansas City guys are really good grapplers, cage grinders. So I've just been turning the grappling up to 100% and rolling hard.
And do you usually like to do like eight weeks training camp for the fights?
This is actually my longest camp. Yeah, normally, I'm always ready. I stay in the gym. I never take days off, even after a win. I'm right back in there. So there's not a time during the year where I'm out of shape and I couldn't fight. So this is definitely the biggest camp I've had, the biggest notice. I'm normally taking them a month and a half out or something. So this was like 2.5 months out is when I figured out that I had this fight. So yeah, I'll be more ready for this fight than I have my entire career.
It will be great to see, especially after your like previous performances, which already were like near to be perfect.
Yes, sir.
Uh, and it is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds, right?
5 5 minutes on the
Five, yeah,
main
yes.
event. Yeah, main event for the title.
And because you are on the like as the pro, you are finishing everybody very quickly. Uh, do you have any like maybe doubts, maybe questions about your cardio that later in the fights later in the fight it can be it may be some problem, or you will be prepared no matter what and you will be able to go full distance?
Yeah, I definitely have doubters, that say that I couldn't go those rounds, I couldn't do that, but I'm doing it in the training room, I'm doing it in the gym where it matters, I'm getting those Shark Tank rounds, I'm going 25 minutes in there, cardio is actually one of my biggest weapons. I just never had to use it against anyone. They don't make it to that point. So I think if he's lucky enough to make it into those championship rounds, even the third round, I'm going to start melting, dude, with the cardio and the pace. People just haven't seen that before, and I'll be able to show that wrinkle if it comes out.
And as the pro, you are finishing everybody in the first round. But of course, you as the amateur, you had like I believe two bouts that went full distance. Of course, it is a little bit different in the amateur fights and in the pro, but it can be like some proof that you like in the end of the day you can go for the 3 rounds.
Yeah, yeah. Even as an amateur, I had a really high finish rate. I think out of my 11 fights, I might have had 5 full fights, if you count the time that they lasted. And now that I'm a pro, I'm 4-0 and I've got a round and a half actual cage time. So I'm always focused on finishing people, I'm not trying to bore anybody by being in there all night, and I don't want to be in there all night. But don't get it wrong or twisted. I'm putting in the work. That's why I'm able to do that. I got the cardio, I got the power and the ability to finish fights, but I also can be in there as long as you can. If you're tough enough to withstand all this, I'll be there to keep hitting you, to keep putting the pace on you. Just most guys crack underneath all that.
And did you have to watch any of the fights of the like even the highlights of your opponent?
Yeah, I've watched most of his pro fights. He did go on a extensive layoff here recently. He took 5 years off. His fight before that was against Montel Jackson. Montel's 13-2 in the UFC now, so that was a real big fight. For him. If he would have won that, he would have been probably in the UFC. Montel went on to the Contender Series right after, and now he's really good in the UFC. So I know the caliber this guy is. He was right there. He was on the doorstep back then. So he's coming back. He's up a weight class, bigger, probably better now. So I'm definitely ready for him.
And because he had such a long break, it always can like be make some questions for you, because you can't see his like fights from last year, let's say, except the last one. So he may be a little like a mystery for you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Even that comeback fight, after the 5 years, you could see he's not the same fighter he was. He's got a lot of new stuff that he's added in. I'm sure he probably didn't take 5 years away from training. He just took it away from competing. So those are years and gym time that is unaccountable. I can't tell what he's learned. I can't tell what he's grown through. So we'll we'll be able to figure that out in July. But I'm ready for whatever for sure.
And you also had like amazing amateur career defeating very, very good fighters. And your only loss came in the fight that happened in the welterweight division. And usually you fought either as the featherweight or I believe lightweight. So what was the reason behind going to the welterweight division?
It goes back to my fight time, dude. I had I think I was 9-0, and I just wasn't getting the kind of cage time that I wanted. I was finishing all those guys, and we didn't see a guy at featherweight or 55 that was going to give it to me in the area. Without traveling, of course, across the country or something, which was going to be our next step. But we figured, hey, we were saving the show. They had a dropout. It was late notice. I was in shape and stuff, but I didn't have to cut any weight. It's cool. That's what I walk at. So I mean, it was really just the experience thing. At amateurs, none of that stuff matters. It was cool to get in there, to feel the weight, to feel the difference. And just have the experience against a really good opponent. That guy wasn't no slouch. He was the number one middleweight and welterweight in the state at the time. So it was just really about the experience, man. Just getting pushed through, see things I never seen. I was never put on my back for 3 full rounds, and that guy did it. So I got to feel that. I'm ready for that now. If anyone tries to emulate that same game plan, I'm ready for it, especially at my weight.
But it is great that you decided to challenge yourself because you beat everybody. And like you said, you fought against a very, very good fighter, not like 1-5 guy, but the best fighter out there in the welterweight division. So probably like people need to respect that you were like very good featherweight, very good lightweight, and still you decided to go to the welterweight division, trying to be the best in three different weight classes.
Yeah, they actually Tapology actually ranked me number one at welterweight after that fight, just because I guess my level of competition was a little different than that guy's. So even me competing at the weight, even though I lost, they still after that fight I was ranked number one at 45, 55, and 70 for the Midwest. But yeah, that was just it, man. I feel like around the area, at least the gyms in the Midwest that I've been through, I haven't seen anyone that had the quite the amateur schedule that I had. So all these guys that were amateur with me that are going pro now that I didn't fight, I'm sure they're not going to look to try to fight me because I fought everyone around that was at the top of the amateur division. So I'm ready for any of these local pros, any of these guys around the area, even regional now, going to FAC. I'll show that the reason that I put myself through those things in amateur is going to come out here. I'm going to make quick work of these pros the same way I did those guys.
And after this fight, do you plan to stay in the featherweight division, or you have like in the back of your head the plan to go to the lightweight?
As long as my body will let me, I'll make 45, man. Last time I did miss by a pound and a half, but I felt like I just ran out of time. I still had it to cut. I still feel like I can make 45, but I'm 23, so I'm sure, soon, a couple years maybe, body will develop and I won't be able to make 45 anymore. But as long as I can, that's the plan. Stay at 45, grow there and beat up a lot of dudes that I can. But if not, I'll have to put on some size probably to fight 55. Other than that, if I fight 55 before then, it'll probably be like the smaller guys, because there's a big range of 55ers. There's a normal, real 55ers, and then there's the welterweights that make 55. So it kind of just depends.
And right now you're in the training camp. And if you can tell me how your like normal day in the training camp looks like.
So I work at 8 to 5. So I'll get up, I'll eat, my breakfast, whatever. I'll go to work. When I get off work, it just depends on the day. Mondays is normally uh, I'll stay in town. I'll train at my home gym, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays I'll be up at Pitt Smith with Pat Smith and Dakota Bush. Normally, I'll be training with them. Fridays I'll go up to Fight Club and I'll spar with Marshall Camp and all the Fight Club dudes. We'll get some good sparring in, and then Saturday, Sunday Saturday I'll normally run, or I'll hit another local gym up for some rounds, and then Sunday I'll hit a like an open mat or something and just flow. But
So you are training like all day, every day.
yeah, it's so it's normally like a couple hours every day, 6 to 7 days. It just depends, you know. Like instead of resting, I'll normally have like an active rest day. I won't like take a day where I'm just sitting still, not doing anything. It'll be like I'll just go for a run, or I'll just flow roll, or just drill on those days, you know. Just tune it back a little bit, let my body recover. But yeah, I'm been full gas this camp for sure.
And if we can talk about your beginnings in the sport, in overall in combat sport, was it MMA the first sport that you ever trained, or do you have a like background in other combat sport?
Uh, yeah. So when I walked into my home gym Parabellum, it was just straight into boxing. I didn't do any MMA for like a year and a half. I just boxed day in and day out. That's all we were focused on was boxing. So, I mean, if you were to just give me a background, it would be that. But it was only for like a year and a half before I started doing MMA. So, really, I mean, I could transition pretty fast. But I believe I'm a better my my strong suit is boxing. I'm a better boxer than a lot of guys. So that would be my background if you were to give me one.
But of course you have also a few great submissions, so even in your like many of your like amateur or pro fights, you seems to be a very good grappler, and the grappler who is like looking for the finishes, not the fighter who is like holding and trying to win by decision. So if you would not talk about the boxing, it I can like think that you are more of the even a grappler when I can see you on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, I think that goes to not learning jujitsu in a jujitsu class. You know, I didn't take a bunch of gi classes or like just a no gi jujitsu. I didn't take those right off the bat. My jujitsu was learned from the MMA class in my gym, so I was able to incorporate striking with my jujitsu. So when I got in there, I wasn't necessarily separating the two. I was finding the submissions in transition during the action. I was able to submit guys rather than breaking it down to just a jiu-jitsu match. I was able to keep it in my head as an MMA match and find those finishes.
Uh, And for now, what would you say is the area in your game that you need to improve the most? Of course, like you are quite young fighter, so it's obvious that not even you, but everybody needs to improve all of their areas. But the one aspect that you would like to focus on.
Um, I mean, especially for this camp, it was just the wrestling. I didn't do wrestling in high school or college. And a lot of these guys did. So I'm always going to be a little bit behind on the traditional wrestling. But MMA grappling makes up for a lot of wrestling stuff. So I've been MMA grappling for 3 4 years now. So I'm catching up. But that would be what I need to grow on. Is just the wrestling aspect of the grappling.
And what is your favorite part of the training right now? Right now,
Right now, the favorite part would be just finding that different kind of level of grind, dude. I mean, there's nothing like being shark tanked in a grappling kind of sense. You get to round 4 or 5, and your body wants to quit on you, and you got to use the mind to get through it. You get into like a little state where you quit feeling stuff and you're just moving. So that's definitely my favorite. I'm definitely gonna need that in my fight. He's gonna push me, and I'm gonna be comfortable there instead of being freaked out and worried and make mistakes. I'll be comfortable in those areas.
it's great that the toughest part of the training is in like toughest part is in the gym, not in the fight. That you know that you can beat these obstacles because you beat them in the gym. So probably it's in the moment it's like very terrifying, but in the fight it will be definitely be a beneficial thing.
Definitely, yeah. You see it a lot at the higher level. Guys start taking control of their training camps, and they stop putting themselves through like those rough rounds and stop cross training with the harder dudes, and they take easier camps. So especially now as just an early pro, I'm all my trainings in my coach's hands, and they're definitely putting me through the right stuff. I'm definitely where I should be doing the right things.
And about your sparring partners, if you can like mention maybe few fighters that are less known they are not currently in the big organizations, but you can see the potential in them, like the like very good prospects that in a few years can be in the like UFC or on this level.
Oh yeah. I mean, right now, I just got done last night sparring with Marshall Kemp. He's a 6-1 lightweight. He just beat the #1 dude out of Oklahoma. I mean, that dude, if he's not getting the call this year, it's gonna be next year. He's right there on the doorstep for sure. Just Thursday, I was wrestling with a 17 and 18-year-old, and they've won the Tulsa Nationals like 12 times. They've been all over the country wrestling. They're some of the best wrestlers in the country. They're young right now. They're young and little. They're like sophomores in high school or something, but they're going to be crazy whenever they get to the right level to compete it. The right age to compete. They're going to be nuts. They're going to do whatever they want. So I'm keeping an eye on them. You guys will figure out them soon enough. The whole world will know, I'm sure. But everyone at Fight Club, man, there's a whole gym full of people in Fight Club that are just killers. I got some kids that I train with out of my gym. My little brother, Colton Carmack, Chance Carmack, David Hawk. These guys are. I'm around some of the best amateurs right now, and they're going to be the best pros when they get to that level for sure.
And like you said, that you are training with quite young people. It's kind of crazy that you can like get knowledge from the people that you wouldn't think of, that they are like teenagers, but the level of this of their skill is such a high level that it is a beneficial for high level mixed martial artist.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I mean they've been wrestling since they were, just kids. So they've taught me so much. Their coaches and dads taught me a lot. But I just keep my mind open, man, in this game. I started I started young comparative to the game, and it still feels like late now. I started at 18, and it still feels late to some of these guys. I see a lot of teenagers, like kids that are just now getting in the programs, and they're doing stuff that I couldn't do 2 years ago. So I definitely keep an open mind. I try to learn from everybody, whether it's the beginner, the kid, the old man, the coach, just someone in my equals, that are pros the same way I am. I'll learn from anyone. I don't care. I don't bring an ego into the gym. My only ego is on fight night. That's where my ego is. That's the only night I have my ego.
And in this year, you fought a few times already, and it will be your, I believe, fourth fight this year.
Yeah, 4 fight this year. Yeah.
So after this, how many more would you like to have?
It kind of just depends how this one goes. I mean, everyone before me that's won a championship for FAC has went to the UFC after, so it kind of just depends what kind of call we get. If we don't get anything this late this year, if we don't get a contender series or like called up or anything like that, then I'll try to fight regional. I'll try to, LFA's been hitting me up, so I'll probably try to fight for them or something. But yeah, I mean, if everything goes well, I come out injury free. I'll try to get one or two more at the end of this year. Unless something big happens, then that'll put a halt in the plans. But yeah, I'm trying to stay active, man. I keep putting these guys away really quick. It shows that I'm on a different level than all these guys, and as long as I can keep doing that, and you can see that I'm a level ahead of these guys, then I'm gonna keep fighting as quick as I can. Just keep turning them around the same way it is an amateur.
And with this kind of pace, like very soon you will be 10 or 12 and 0. Because sometimes the fighters like or prefer to fight like twice a year, but with your pace, you will be 12 and 0 in like July next year.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, man, it just depends on the level of competition. I know what level I'm at. I'm at such a high level compared to these guys. I'm getting better every day. I'm training with high level guys. My training's it's not putting me backwards. It's not keeping me stale. Every time I'm in this training room, I'm taking 2 steps ahead. So a lot of these guys, they're either stagnant in the water, staying the same, or they're just not growing at the level that I am. So I go in there to grow every day, and I'm going to be catching up and passing these dudes really really quick.
Right now you have a few years experience. You fought like 15 times already, and seeing your like training and fighting, how big your potential in MMA do you think is? Like do you think that you will be in the UFC? It's probably will happen quite soon, but in the rankings maybe you are like championship material. What do you think when you are thinking about your future?
Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't get in this thing to, be second best or take a back seat to anyone. That wasn't my idea when I started training this stuff. I wanted to be competitive at it. I wanted to be one of the best people known for it. So that's definitely my goals, man, is to be championship caliber. I want to get to that level, climb through the rankings, and just show that, this little Midwest, we can still create like great people. I mean, Missouri's already created world champs, so I'll just be another one of the few. But just building up my local scene, we got a great group of guys around here, and a lot of guys, they move off to big gyms and they have to get these big training camps to do this stuff. But starting to see now like a little few people here and there pop out from little gyms, and just that's something that we're trying to emulate. It's just bringing something that no one's seen before, just from this little part of Missouri. We're gonna take over the scene for sure.
And about the gyms, do you ever like plan to go to the, let's say, like super big camp for a few weeks of the training to get back to Missouri and like show what you learn, or you prefer to stay in the area?
Yeah, so my last camp, I actually went to Jackson Wink. They were my management. We just ended our contract with them, but they did manage me, for my whole amateur career and early pro. They were great. I went down there for 2 weeks, trained with those guys, and enjoyed the hell out of it. Learned a lot, brought a lot back. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not opposed to going back there. I could figure something out and I could go back there and train. But as far as like making it my home gym, I don't know. As long as what I'm doing is working, I'm on a path where everything's going great, everything's working. I'm not hitting no speed bumps, nothing's going wrong. As long as everything's going as smooth and good as it is, I'd be an idiot to change it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So as long as this stuff's working, this is what I'm gonna do. Of course, there'll be fights where I'll need certain looks, and maybe these other big gyms have the better look for me. So maybe I'll spend a fight camp down there or something. But as far as home gym, it's gonna be Missouri right here. It's gonna be right here. We're gonna bring a world title back here for sure.
It's probably one of the best options. Just sometimes go somewhere to gain a knowledge, but still stay in your state, just to grow a scene, grow your gym, grow your local fighters, and then like that, and it can allow to grow you together as the team.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like I said with Marshall and stuff. I mean, he's at that level, and just him being in the room teaching us, he's bringing all of us to that level. Even his coaches above him that brought him up, they're bringing everybody up around us. We're bringing each other up. Sooner or later, we're all going to be at that level. We're all going to be that caliber of people, and we're going to start bringing people into us. People are going to want to come to our gym to train instead of us having to go places. So.
Do you have the fighter in mind who is in the UFC that you would like to face?
Uh, I like to report back to something Leon and Edward said last time they all asked him who he wanted next, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to fight them all anyways. So I don't care who it is, or when it is. I'll just say yes. It doesn't matter to me. I'll fight every single one of those dudes. It don't matter. And if everything goes right, I'll have to fight most of them. So
And who is your favorite fighter to watch in the UFC?
uh I like to watch a lot of guys that are like my build, my weight class, to kind of learn from them. So I say probably like a Charles Oliveira. I like watching him. I pick up a lot from him. I use a lot of stuff that I've seen him do and stuff. But Corey Sandhagen, I like watching him too. Sean O'Malley, Nate Diaz. I like watching those guys.
And what do you think about Sean O'Malley against Merab? Because it will happen soon, I believe, like in a few months.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna be on the edge of my seat the first and second, maybe the beginning of third round if it goes that far, because O'Malley can spark him. We've seen him get hurt a few times, so we'll see if he can get it done early like that and just the same way he did Aljo and hurt him before the grappling really sets in. I know he's no slouch grappling, but Marab's a different animal, especially with the pace he keeps. Shooting 40 takedowns in a fight's fucking nuts. No one's gonna be able to keep up with that. So first, second, third round, if O'Malley can get him out of there without too much grappling, I think he'll get it done. But after that, I think Marab will take over. He's crazy.
But it is a like really interesting clash of styles between like relentless takedown artist and like a very high level striker. And I think that it will be a like very very great fight to see.
Definitely, absolutely.
And when you are like thinking about about your career, what would you say is the biggest motivator to train to like trying to chase your dream? What motivates you to be a MMA fighter?
Uh, I mean, motivates me is probably like my little brother and my parents. We lost our parents at 15, so I got like a bunch of just internal motivation through that. So I'm just trying to make people proud that ain't here no more. And I'll never be able to tell if they're proud until I pass over. So I'm gonna do everything I can during this life to make sure when it's over that they're proud. So that's I got a bunch of internal motivation that's never gonna go away. It'll never go away.
And after before your fights, when you have like few hours to the fight, and you know that you will be fighting against other skilled martial artists, how do you deal with the nerves that happen before the fight?
Uh, I'm not too nervous anymore. I used to be like my first couple fights. I used to be real nervous, and the last fight I got a little nervous just because I knew the level that the guy was. I knew he was super high level, but when it's fight night, man, Hayes in the barn. Nothing that I do fight night's gonna change what happens. That's what we say in the back. Hayes in the barn. Work's been done. There's not a I couldn't go over anything or work up any kind of sweat that's going to change what happens that night. Everything, all that fight camp stuff's over. Everything leading up to it, everything that's going to happen is going to happen. I just got to go out there and perform. So I just got to clear my head, make 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 sense of what's going to happen, make peace at every outcome, and just go out there and ready to die. I don't plan on. I look at like what Gaethje said. I don't plan on seeing anybody after that fight. I don't plan on walking out that octagon. That's I go in there with the mindset that this is it. This is the last fight. Every fight's the last fight to me. So that's just clearing my head, getting accepted to what's gonna come. Really.
And do you like to listen to music, or you prefer to be in your own head without anything?
Uh, I mean, I'll take like 30 minutes to an hour of just me, just chilling with no music, and then throughout the night we'll turn music on and just clear the mind, and just keep your mind off little things, but nothing too crazy.
And after the fight, when you know that the work is done, and you have a little bit more time, especially that when you are let's say injured, what do you like to do in your free time?
Uh, we do a lot of fishing. I'm really close to the lake, so do a lot of fishing, a lot of bow fishing. Um, I'm a big gamer. I play a lot of video games in my downtime, so I feel like that's a growing thing in fighters. It doesn't cause injury. It's easy. So gaming, fishing, man. We'll hunt. I mean, I'm in Missouri, so we'll hunt all fall long, but not just typical shit. Nothing too crazy, man.
And do you plan to stream the the games that you are playing in?
Yeah, once I make it to the UFC, I get some hype around my name. People know me definitely. That's easy money. Just to people watch you play, watch you have some downtime. So yeah, for sure. Once I get to the level where I have a following like that, I'll definitely be doing it.
there are a few very like good fighters and legends who are playing, and this is, especially if you are good and you are good in talking to people, it's a great way to like earn additional money and then just to have a fun.
Yeah, I see O'Malley and Max Holloway do it all the time. So yeah, I mean it worked. It would be stupid not to, that's a if I'm gonna play games and I'm gonna be at that kind of level of, people knowing me, then why wouldn't I combine the two and take advantage of that? So I'll definitely be taking advantage of any kind of business opportunity when I get to that level. That's where the money's made in the UFC. It's not necessarily in the fights until you get really high level. So yeah, I'll be taking advantage of any kind of business opportunity I can to make my life easier.
Okay, Ray. So many thanks for the conversation. I hope that in your fight you will get another quick finish and you will get a few other bouts later this year.
Sir.